Hi, folks. Welcome back to Pop Up Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're back with more Farscape. If you've noticed, I'm sure you have if you're a fan of watching us react to this series, we've been a little bit slower to upload recently due to the great Texas winter apocalypse, as we're calling it, and also just Heidi's schedule and getting kids back into the swing of school after a week of crazy weather and no power and no water for a little bit and all those things. So lots of weird life things going on. So we appreciate your patience is what I'm getting at. Our schedule should get back to normal fairly soon, but we're still dealing with a lot of
Backlog.
Changes and backlog and catching up. So we appreciate your patience and we will do our best not to keep you waiting any longer than we have to. When last we were with you with Farscape, we watched Picture If You Will.
Yeah.
Which we got to visit once again with Maldus.
Yes.
Heidi, what stood out to you from that episode? And do you think we're going to see Maldus again? These are my questions for you.
Well, I honestly, I really liked how weird it was to have the sort of cube thing or whatever it was everyone was trapped in, the Phantom Zone stuff.
Sure.
That was kind of cool to see.
It was very, very Star Trek, the original series. And I think I said that last week. It was very, they would have something where, they dealt with some sort of mystical being and, the whole set would just be black, solid black. And there'd just be a few props
and a few
around.
Lights. Yeah.
And you were just supposed to imagine that it was some sort of weird mythical place, and that had the same kind of vibe to me.
Yeah, that was really cool. I think I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see Maldus again, but I am not going to be looking for it.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting to see him again, and I mean, you would imagine that someone who's not used to losing would probably not take it well. So wasn't surprised that he popped up again. I remembered that he was going to pop up again, but it's not surprising to me as far as character turns go that he wouldn't take that lightly.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember whether we see him again. So if he does pop up, it'll be a surprise to me too.
Swiss cheese
brain. Anyway, we're going to dive into the next episode, which is called Home on the Remains. I do not recall what this is about. I can see from the thumbnail that it's Zhaan-centric, so it'll be fun to dive into that and see what's up with Zhaan and the rest of the crew.
Yes.
I am thoroughly enjoying rewatching Farscape. I know I've said this a few times, but it's been one of my favorite shows, but due to my Swiss cheese brain, I've forgotten as many things as I remember. So watching it with you and kind of getting your fresh set of eyes and then hearing people in the comments sharing stories and things that they know or have read or... I love getting that kind of feedback, and I know Heidi does too. We try to comment as many times as we can to you guys when you're giving us info down in the comments. So,
we really appreciate it.
So please keep that up because we love chatting with you guys there. Certainly, if you want to see the full, uninterrupted, unedited version of this reaction, you can find that at Patreon as always. $5 a month gets you everything that we do, including Heidi's Deep Space Nine run, Stargirl class, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., WandaVision. I mean, we've done all kinds of shows. Yeah. So $5 a month gets you access to everything unedited. If you don't want to do the $5 a month thing, I can't talk as usual. I think that needs to be a shirt too, because I say that a lot. I can't talk. As far as that goes, if you can't afford to or choose not to support us monthly, that's fine. We totally get it. We can't support all the people we'd love to support either. No harm, no foul there. We're glad that you're here. If you do want to do a one-time thing of support, you can do that via Cash App or Venmo. All those things are always in the description as well. But again, none of it is expected. We just appreciate that you guys are here, and hopefully you give us a thumbs up when this is over if you like the content. That's all we ask. Yep. Okay, let's dive in and see what we're going to find our poor crew involved in this week.
Yep, here we go.
I don't know. I hope it's not a cold. I'm sure not going to get any chicken soup on a boudin.
Look, I know what chicken soup is, okay? There's plenty of other food at the mining camp. What is that appalling smell?
Breakfast.
Dentix. You can't eat Dentix.
Fried Dentix. You can eat anything if it's fried.
I'll pass.
Say it.
I must have food, or I'll die.
I hope the food tastes better than this place smells.
What did you expect? It's a corpse.
It's a filth
filthy goat sty.
Do you want food or not?
How does it have an atmosphere?
About your friend.
Timon.
What did you tell us about him before?
Is he edible?
Rigel. You did, didn't you? You stole from this guy. How's this gonna go down?
When I tell him Mary's dead, he'll forget all about the money.
Handsome fellow.
Why is his head split in two?
Headache.
Timon?
Oh, well,
Well,
so not that helpful.
This is who's going to help us.
you like my nerve.
That wasn't all I liked.
Ew.
He's really mastered the double entendre there.
Too bad
Yeah.
you left so suddenly.
Maybe more like the single entendre.
Why are you back? But not you, Chianna. You used up my charity.
Did he say he used up her cherry? What did he say?
What?
What? What did he say? Charity?
Yes.
Get food for Zhaan. You really found something?
Vein of Nigalti. Need a second liver. Just past the ribs. Set me up for 10 lifetimes.
Nigelti. That's a fish, right?
I think so.
Be happy for yourself, girl. I want you to have a share.
Zhaan, can you hear me? Great.
Officer Sun.
It's exhausting growing asparagus out of your face.
Producing are beginning to affect Moya. She's experiencing a slight numbing sensation along her inner hull.
Right, we'll put the atmosphere scrubbers to maximum capacity.
Already done.
Did.
Well, I don't know what else to suggest then.
Come on.
Can't gone too far. Need meat.
No. You don't want meat. Meat's bad for you. It's got cholesterol, hormones.
Ah!
She might eat you.
Animal proteins. Stop the budding cycle. Buds evolved for protection.
You cheated.
Yeah. It's part of the game. You're just a lousy cheater.
I'll have you know I am an excellent cheater.
Yeah, you are.
My best right now. This outrageous hunger is affecting me.
Let's see some of these Nigelti crystals you claim to have.
We'll settle up when we're done.
You know what I think?
Oh.
I think you don't have any crystals. Never did.
Don't be ridiculous.
You lie about having anything of any value to bet
I
with.
demand another game.
I just want to get a vacuum and take a crevice tool to your head.
I'm gonna miss
Is that not what she's doing? Gross.
Maybe you do have something to trade. No! Does he make all of your decisions for you? That's not the Chianna I knew.
No. I make my own decisions.
I will not allow you to stay here with him.
Don't tell me what to do!
Well, someone has to. Chianna!
Dargo, I had a brother. He's gone. I don't need another.
I don't want to be your brother.
Then what?
Here's hoping. Oh. Nope.
Oh, she sped it up.
You made her grow. Oh, you made her pollinate.
What are you reading, Pilot?
Zhaan now seems to be exuding spores as a reaction to the intense light.
If she and I were to leave in a transport pod, then you could open the rest of Moya to space and flush the pollen out.
That would help Moya. But what about you? The spores have begun to affect
No.
you as well.
I'll be fine. We just need to buy some time until Crichton can return with some meat. You prime a transport pod, all right?
There's a big parallel here to an old Star Trek episode.
I am not aware of this
I'm
parallel.
not original series. I'm not fluent enough to remember the name of the episode, though.
Chewie? Is that you?
Is it a slee stack?
Ursa ring?
Bigfoot?
Run.
Sorry, Crichton. There's no reason for both of us to die. I'm a dominar. You shut your yap and
wait any longer. But unless Zhaan secured herself in a transport pod, decompression will kill her.
Is there no other way to save Moya? Then seal off command and do it.
They should be back by now with the crystals.
It's been a hell of a day. If we don't get some meat before the end of it, I'm gonna cut my own damn arm off and feed it to Zhaan.
Oh.
You stay here with Dargo. Boudreaux is mine.
Zhaan, you don't understand. Try to kill me, suffocate me, poison salve, burn me with light. I've only been trying to help you. Your spores are harming Moya. Would never harm Moya. Zhaan, look at me. Barely talk, I can barely breathe properly. Your spores are doing that, and it's far worse for Moya. Think. You're a Delvian 10th level pal. You trained your mind to control your thoughts. Do it now.
Ugh. This guy.
Nice stash you got here.
You came down to steal some of it. No, fella, you have to earn it.
Like Altana was doing before the critter got her. Speak of the devil. What do you say we take this conversation someplace else?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Friend of yours?
It's a primitive animal.
We used to date.
Intelligent in its own way. Over the years, we have developed a mutually beneficial relationship.
Well, I'm
Gross.
really not interested
Yeah.
in your personal life.
Yeah, thank you.
I should warn you, I don't taste too good.
He wanted you. He prefers what I give him. That's how I trained him
Gross.
to have his way.
Blinded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not
I thought
nearly
they
as,
smelled bad on the outside.
I'm gonna say not nearly as sad as the Rancor. Oh. There we go.
Ew.
Yeah.
You took all his prosthetics off.
Dargo? Thank you. Another helping?
No.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Carolina style Kiva. Best barbecue this side of a boudon.
I'm sorry for what I said.
Here,
Just eat more and stop it.
don't talk.
So listen, if you're going to be a trout, can you be my trout?
You can't understand, Dargo.
All right, that is it for another episode of Farscape. This episode, Home on the Remains, which makes a lot more sense now. Heidi, your thoughts?
Gross. I thought that was an interesting episode. Kind of, again, another sort of monster of the week sort of thing. It's going to be common that they are not always at 100% of everything that they have, that they need, like necessities, medical, food,
Sure.
all that stuff. So certainly this was another thing. Now, they have been hungry before. We've not seen this happen to Zhaan, so they must not have been that hungry.
Right.
So, interesting.
Or maybe it's a cyclical thing where, they happen to be without food at an inopportune time.
For her, I suppose.
Because
But yeah.
we really don't know that much about Delvians and their physiology.
No. One of our commenters pointed out that Zhaan seems to have some fluctuating capabilities. So So this is just another thing. And of course, it's different, dealing with a species that is plant-based. So, you can play with that a little bit in that space. Really did just like a lot of the character development. Yet again, we've said that so many times, but I mean, It just really was a lot of good character development here. So I liked it.
It seems like with Chianna being new to the crew that we're getting a lot of her backstory in bits and pieces as we get to know her.
Yeah.
But also we did get, as much as what was happening to Zhaan is still somewhat of a mystery at the end of this episode. We don't really know why it was happening, but it still, clued us into a little bit more about, how sort of primal some parts of her are that she can revert back into that state. We've heard her talk about those things. We've seen bits and pieces, but this is just another sort of underline of that message from her that, there's this other part of her. Mm-hmm. And then also it underscores how their relationships have changed that, we've already seen, and I think this is interesting because if you would have asked me before we started rewatching, I think my memory of Chianna as a character was not, and I know that Dargo in this episode even talked about her shifting allegiances and loyalties and that kind of thing. And I think that's kind of how I thought of her. Mm. But rewatching this, it's so clear from early on that in spite of those, there's a lot of that's a protection thing for her, that holding people at arm's length. But at the same time, she made them all food from their home worlds. She's done all these things to show that she really cares about them. Yeah. And her willingness to do whatever she needed to do to get food for Zhaan. And she kept saying that. I'll get food for Zhaan. Like, that she didn't have to stand there. She didn't have to take that
stance. Yeah.
That stance. So I feel like I misjudged her a bit in previous watch throughs that I didn't take her loyalty to this group as seriously. Now, everybody loves a character that's that rides the line a little bit, that's not always doing the right thing for the right reasons or whatever. And we love Rigel, for that same reason. But I think Chianna's, there's so much more there than maybe I gave her credit for in previous watch throughs, that she really does have a compassion and a love for these people, even if she doesn't fully understand why, and even if it's not always at the forefront of her thought. But we also see, again, how far Erin's come in her willingness to try everything, to do everything that she could to help Zhaan, even though it was inconvenient and frustrating and not her, not her preference.
Yeah, not her MO, for sure.
And the fact that she, took those blows and, I mean, really, she knocked her out of expediency, not out of anger at Zhaan. Like, she understood that Zhaan was not in control of herself, and she didn't take that frustration out on Zhaan. She just knocked her out because that was the expedient solution to the problem. But I think that says a lot about, Erin as well and who she is. And of course we got to see a little bit of Dargo and Chianna growing closer here. And
so, that was actually a question I was curious about. Were there people kind of rooting for Dargo and Chianna, like, as a thing? Like, I mean, I sort of, like, caught the hints in previous episodes. I don't think we actually spoke to those hints, like, previously. Right. So it was like, whatever. And then, it was obvious in this episode that he had an interest, and then they ended it up with a kiss. And I was like, all right. I mean, like, I wasn't, like, cheering or anything. I'm curious as to how people took that at the time.
Here's the thing. I was active online in some spaces, but I was not active online in any sort of Farscape, forum or anything like that. So
this is a question for our audience.
Yeah. So somebody else would have to answer that, because I watched this show weekly as it aired, but I wasn't involved in any sort of online discussions about it. So I don't know. I only know how I felt, and I don't think I cared one way or the other. Like, I liked both characters, so it was fine. I just didn't. Like, I didn't need it, but I didn't hate it either.
Yeah. Was this sort of an attempt to kind of take a a turn away from the whole John and Aaron, Aaron and John, John and Aaron thing. You know, like just maybe like, have another couple sort of people on the board on board the ship. I don't know.
Well, I mean, these guys may have a different perspective,
yeah.
but I feel like, you know, that the creators of this probably knew going in that John and Aaron, you know, were a thing that they were going to continue to explore, but they didn't want to rush it and they didn't want to do too much too fast. So,
or like just put it in everyone's face every episode.
So maybe having something else to play with was nice as a distraction, or even as something to compare and contrast to. Yeah. So I don't know. I can't really speak to that, but we would definitely like to hear what you have to say.
Yeah, for sure.
If you let us know in the comments. But
curious.
Yeah, I thought this was a good episode. It's not one of those that's like a standout. Oh my gosh, I got to watch it. But I am curious. Now I'm going to have to go and dig around in Star Trek, the original series, and find out what episode that is. Because I know if I showed it to you, you'd be like, oh yeah, it was so clearly an homage to a specific Star Trek episode.
Of course, maybe our
and viewers. I think that's why we had Viger as a name. That's why we had him referencing, you know, enough with the Kirk.
Oh yeah.
You know, whatever. So yeah, I think definitely that was a Star Trek tip of the hat. So anyway, that's it for us this week's. This week's. I can't talk. This week, we'll be back next week with another episode of Farscape. Until then,
bye.
Bye.